Hey, it's Trueflight here. We're back in the crew. This time we're going to be taking a look at the RUF cars, and I think there's three of them in the crew. If you're like me, you're either an American or you don't follow the stuff too closely. I originally assumed that RUF was like a knockoff, no-name brand that they used because they couldn't get a license to Porsche. Definitely, I was wrong. Anybody who follows car culture or anybody from Europe probably knows RUF is a major company that's been around since the 40s, even a little before that. And they're basically to Porsche what Shelby is to the Mustang or Hennessy is to the Lotus, only on a much larger scale. They pick up these cars bare boned from the factory from Porsche, strip them down, and then completely rebuild them with even higher performance parts into amazing machines. So I don't want to take away from how cool they actually are with just the fact that I didn't know about them until I started playing games and saw these showing up in them. The first one we got here is the 3400K. This was one of the first high-end cars I actually bought in the crew, and it lasted me a long time. It's a pretty beastly car, good cornering, good acceleration. I used it for a long time until I started getting into a bigger collection of cars. Most notably, the circuit spec for it is nice, but it has almost every spec. I think the only thing it's missing is street. And it's just an overall nice car. We're cruising around in it here in stock even. And even in stock level, it's a pretty nice car. So, of the three that are in the game, this one has the most specs available and the most versatility because of that. So you might get the most mileage out of it for whatever you're looking for and find yourself a spec that you like. You can find some of the other ones easy enough. They're hard to dig up sometimes. There's a really long list. Here's our circuit spec of it. Still annoyed that circuit specs can't really be customized, but this was a car I used for a whoa, gonna wreck. Used it for a very long time as my actual go-to circuit spec. It's crazy fast, great handling. The only real complaint I'd have to say, I don't know if I can do this in this, it's made for drag cars, but is that it tends to be a little light, and even the slightest little bump can get the thing some air. So it tends to, the wheels tend to come off the ground a lot. I still managed to get a platinum on it. So you have to keep that in mind when you're driving. Oh, that was bad. I had a halfway decent score until that happened. But yeah, it does tend to get air, and the wheels come off the ground a lot, so you have to keep that in mind when driving it. But for this car, I'd say this is the go-to best spec it has. There is a raid spec, there is a dirt spec, but this one is by far the one that drew me to this car. Of course, all of them have a performance spec as well. All the performance specs are nice, but it was really the circuit here that drew me to this car. I've done a bunch of videos in it too, some of my older stuff, if you want to go back and look at those. As I said, this one comes in most of the specs. Here we have our raid. This is actually a really nice raid car. Another one I did use for quite a while. It's still a decent raid car by the standards they go on today. Not even sure where this goes. I'm assuming there's a road up here somewhere, but... the fact that we're accelerating up this hill kind of gives you an idea how nice it is. That was a rock. Say, I thought I saw a road down here. Those are rocks. Oh, God. Back on the wheels, yeah. Try to get back down on the road. There we go. And of course, we have our dirt spec. Again, dirt spec for this one's not too bad. I don't think I really customized this one. I think it's just what it had. Of course, there isn't a dirt road around here to show it off on. Whoa, that was cool. Not intentional, but cool. But again, the really shining star of this car is that circuit spec. Though it has multiple in there, so if you're only going to buy one of the RUFs, this is the one to check out because it gives you the most bang for your buck, the most of the options to look through and try to find that one car you like. I believe some of these have extreme specs too. I didn't really look at them. I think all of them have a drift spec. We'll check that out when we get to the end. I'll go to the garage and actually look. Do they show... they might show specs in here under the full stock. I never actually paid it. This one's way down near the bottom. Yeah, they do show them, but this one does not. Has them, but I don't own them, it looks like. We'll look for that for sure towards the end there when we hit the garage and actually get into them. I'm off the road. The next one here is our, I always mess it up. I think it's a CTR3. Yep, CTR3. This one, if you've done the Xfinity Challenge race, it's up there near the Mountain States. Not far from, like, Chicago. But, they make you use this car. It was one of the first races I actually did in the game. I had a friend who played when I bought the game, and he had us drive over there and do the Xfinity Challenge, like the very first thing ever. And I had no clue how to drive this car or something in its class, so we, of course, got demolished in that race. Now that I have a bit more practice and I'm used to driving cars that are faster than it's not that big of a deal. This one, by far, is probably the fastest of the RUF models. Whoa, took that a bit wide. And I still, to date, use this as my drag spec. Love the motion speed-activated fin there. As you get hit certain miles an hour, it moves. Now we got just a small fin, and then when you brake like 80, I think it is, yep, it moves all the way up. Pretty cool. You can change those out for other ones, but I kind of like it. This is a stock model, so I think on my performance model I took it off. But yeah, this one is definitely a nice car. I think my son still uses it. I use it for my drag. And I think it's by far one of the fastest drag cars, so it's got that going for it. Don't know what other... this is the one that comes in a drift spec. And I do own the drift spec of this, so we'll throw that up just for the heck of it. Nope, that's the wrong car. That's the other Porsche. We're not to that one yet. There she is. There you can see we've gotten rid of the spoiler. I think I have a carbon hood on this. I don't do a lot to my hypercars. Kind of prefer them kind of plain Jane. Getting better at drifting now. as I plow through a sign. Oh god. Well, I had to make that comment. But yeah, this one definitely, the drag spec is the shining star, at least for me. Of course, with all of them, the performance spec is nice. I can throw that up here because I can actually drive that. And I can't remember off the top of my head the costs of the cars. But I believe this one's a little bit cheaper than the other one. I want to say it might be more. I'm thinking it's cheaper just because of the specs it offers and things, but again, not a bad car. I would prefer, aside from the drag spec, I prefer the 3400 over this. But definitely that drag spec is nice. The performance spec isn't bad on any of these, so keep those in mind as well. But again, the 3400K gives you more bang for your buck with all the different specs to choose from. So if you're low on cash and you're looking for a decent car, I'm still thinking that's the better choice. This one definitely, as I said, the drag spec is nice, and if you're into drifting, it's not a bad drift car. It's very light, high horsepower. I just absolutely suck at drifting, so can't really take my example for that. Now we'll hop over to the newest addition to the RUF family in the crew. And that's going to be one I can't find. The RT35. Which, I gotta say, of the three cars, now this one is probably my favorite. It is limited in its specs, like the CTR3, but the specs it does have available are awesome. Even the stock spec here, and I can't see a thing with that sun in my eyes. Even the stock spec here is beastly of a car. You can see I'm almost hitting 200. Oh, I'm gonna die. I could almost hit 200 miles an hour in this thing stock if I can keep it on the road. That's a turn. I don't think there's another straightaway like that too. Oh, that's dirt road. Brunch. And apparently it's good off-road too. Yeah, this one comes in quite a bit of specs actually. It's everything but circuit and monster. None of them have street spec, so I mean, overall I think this is my favorite of the cars. While we're already on the dirt here, let's go grab. I'm on it. Our dirt spec. I don't think I modified this one. I think this is the way it came, but a weird view too. There we go. Again, though, this is a really nice car. This one was added in Wild Run, so if you don't have Wild Run, I'm not sure if they made all the cars available or not. Someone will have to post in the comments and let me know about that. They might be. I can't remember if they allowed you to use all the cars. I know the extreme specs and the motorcycles are locked if you don't have Wild Run, but I'm not sure if cars they added are. I got Wild Run when it launched, so I really can't say, but somebody out there will know. Especially somebody who just picked up the game when it was on free on the Uplay store there, so you won't have Wild Run, so you'll be able to tell me these things. Anyway, overall, this is my favorite of all of the RUF cars. I love the way it handles. Love the specs it has available for it. And we have our raid spec. This was actually just added last week. Uh, this is the second time I'm recording this video. When I first recorded it, something was wrong with my mic and didn't record any sound. And when I went back to redo it, this car was there. This actually wasn't there when I did the original video. So I did not mean to hit that, but we're going to fail miserably because we're in a raid car trying to do a dirt spec challenge, but... Actually, not too bad. Whoever's doing that ghost in front of us wasn't that great. Oh, that was a terrible, terrible turn. Anyway, though, so this spec is bare stock right now because I just bought it. Realizing they added it after I made the original video, but... So I don't have much to say about this one now. Because I really haven't used it too much. I haven't worked it up at all. I'm still impressed we got a gold on that with how bad I was driving. So right now it's very slow. As I said, it's pretty much stock. Interesting looking. Kind of reminds me of a Baja type car, like the air intake on the roof. Now if there's a mountain pass up here, we can get off this road and just kind of go exploring. Kind of stuck in this little valley right now. But again, I don't know much about this car because I just picked it up. I haven't driven this spec of it, but it's another notch under the belt of the of this particular car. It's another spec available to it, so definitely gives you a little more incentive to want to pick this one up. It seems very heavy, which is odd. Could just be that the parts, it's got no weight reduction parts or anything on it, so. Always cool to see them go back and add new specs, though. I really need to check and see if they've added... why am I following the road? Oh, that's why. This was a little bit rougher terrain than I was expecting. I really want to go back and see if they've added drag specs to the muscle cars yet, because it really annoys me that they don't have those. But, back on the road here. Hop over into a different spec. There's no circuit. There is a drift spec, which again, I'm terrible in drift. This car I actually think I put a couple parts on because it was used in one of the Summit qualifiers. And I can definitely see where these would make a decent drift car in the right hands. I mean, even my terrible driving skills for drifting can pull some good corners like that. So in the hands of somebody who actually knows what they're doing, I could see this being a solid car. I believe that this is the most expensive of the RUF models, and with good reason. But it is an all-around good machine. A lot of these, though, I've got so many cars nowadays, I don't use some of them. That was a terrible turn. I don't use them nearly as much as I'd like to because there's just too many to choose from, but for people who are looking for specific cars and things, I know a lot of people like one specific model and they drive that almost exclusively. It's nice to have these options out there. This in a performance spec is a great car too. I'm forgetting to turn those off when I do videos. But again, this car in performance is one of my most favorite performance cars to drive. I like performance. You can tell all of them are maxed out. And of course it's getting dark because we're making a video. But yeah, this in performance, I absolutely love. I think I've driven a couple videos of performance faction races in this. Oh, when the wheels are on the ground, you can actually turn. This is a terrible road. Holy crap. Talk about how much I love the car, and then I go on to destroy it 2 turns later. But definitely a nice all-around car. If you're going to buy one, I didn't realize this one had as many specs as it did. I would recommend this one. The 3400K is extremely nice because of that circuit spec. I still give it the credit for that. If you're looking for a new circuit car, definitely give that one a try. For everything else, I think I would recommend this one here, and I'm terrible with the names of these for some reason. The RT35. But yeah, definitely I like this car. I have this in drag spec. I still do use the CTR3 in drag though. Not sure if this one's better or I just haven't worked it up yet. So that might be worth keeping in mind too. But right now I do use, like I said, all 3 of them. The 3400K makes a great circuit car. This one's all of them are excellent performance cars. I'll give them that. And the CTR3 is an awesome drag car. So they all have their shining aspects. This one is probably the most well-rounded though. I know I said that about the 3400K when I was driving that, but I forgot this one had so many specs now, they keep adding them. In the end though, it's which car you prefer. We're gonna hop in the interior here. How do we... There we go. Of course it's dark, so this isn't gonna work. Can we go somewhere where it's light out? No, because it's the middle of the night. Don't think that's gonna make a difference. It's only gonna go like 2 hours. Yeah. At least in the city here, there's a little bit of light so you can see, but there's our interior. Nothing spectacular. I did notice a lot of these cars have the tachometer front and center, and the speedometer's off to the side. It's kind of an afterthought. It's kind of weird. And again, it's probably a performance thing because these are train tracks, not a road. Most of the time, these kind of cars are going to be manual transmission. Though I don't know anybody who actually, unless you're drag racing, I don't know anybody who really shifts by RPM. Anybody who's ever driven standard, you shift by the engine sound. At least that's what I do. Hell, my car, the first couple months I owned it, didn't even have a tach, so. It, had a blown resistor in it, which is common in that model car. So the tach didn't read at all, it always stayed 0. Whoa, that road ends. Out of the way. Real quick, we'll hop over in the other 2 so you can see the interiors on those. If I can find them. There's the CTR3's interior. Again, tach front and center. Speedometer's off to the side. All our other gauges are actually hidden kind of behind the... I guess not, it's just the way they are. It looked like there was a bar on the steering wheel hiding them back there, but... I guess this video is not really going to be as helpful to people on deciding between these cars, because I like all 3. And there's nothing, aside from a certain spec here or there, there's nothing outstanding amongst any of them, so you really need to drive all of them and decide which one you like. They do handle a bit different. So there's that to think about. And our last one. Probably gonna go by like 3. Oh, there it is. And we have our nice bluer interior. And again, as with the others, tack in the front. This one doesn't have paddle shifters, I just noticed. It actually reaches down to shift. All of the cars now have paddle shifters. You can even see the... Got my wrong hand on the wrong control here. Anyway, we will hop into the garage just to verify which cars have which specs. I know we went over it a little because I do show them in the other one, but there's our 3 cars right there. CZR3's only got the performance and stock. Of course, they all have stock. With the other 2, you've got everything but circuit on the RT35. The 3400K does have everything. And then on to extreme specs if you have Wild Run. Gotta find him here. There you go. It looks like the 3600 doesn't, or 3400 doesn't have any extreme specs. The other 2 cars share the same. So really you're trading circuit spec. What am I doing? Oh, I went back. I don't remember what page they were on. There we go. So really you're trading the CGR3 here has most of the extreme specs, but you're shorting yourself on everything else here. Definitely that drag spec is nice. It is a fast car. The 3400K, you're getting everything on here, but it has no extreme specs right now. I expect that to change. They're going to at least throw a drift in there, if not a drag eventually. And then the RT35 here has everything else. So you're looking at the circuit spec on the 3400 is definitely its shining point. The drag spec on the CTR3, and then the RT35 is pretty much I like it for the well-rounded. I think it has the most specs out of all of them between this and the extreme ones. All of them are great in performance. All of them are fun in stock. The rest of the stuff is just either what you're looking for or what you want to mess around with. But not a super helpful video if you're trying to decide between them. As I said, you're probably better off going out and actually driving them for yourself and seeing which one you like. But definitely let me know which one's your favorite and why in the comments. And if you have any other vehicles you'd like to see me go through, if you have any specs or models or anything you want to see, specific races, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to get them out. Until next time, have fun and keep driving, and we'll see you in the next video.